Hey, Jack.
There we go.
There we
Hi.
go. All right.
I'm awake.
Yeah, you're. All right. Let me switch us over here. Ah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jack.
Morning.
See, I love our friendship because I could be like, "Hey, can you get up early and do this thing with me?" And you're like, oh, "Okay."
This is how much I love you. I wake up to an alarm for you.
Oh, I love that. So I had to go live because I have YouTube set up to like schedule the live and everything. And then you
Hmm.
popped on right after I hit, go ahead. But it's all good. It's all good. We're here. So how are you doing, Jack?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It is too early for me to know how I'm doing. Not particularly well. As I let you know yesterday, I just found out that another one of my friends died yesterday, so I'm not doing too great there.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's nice to see your face this morning.
Yeah, and I'm as chipper as I could possibly be. I'm also exhausted and desperate need of this coffee today, and I don't know. I had weird dreams, so very
Weird
weird dreams.
dreams.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Oh my gosh, I've been having weird dreams, and like the people who have been like showing up in my dreams. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about you. Like, why are you here? So it's just bizarre, and I overanalyze my dreams sometimes. So I'm just like, what does this mean? And I know that it doesn't mean anything, and I'm just like going nuts. And now I have like so many like windows open on my computer right now. I'm like, okay, I've got YouTube over here, I've got this over here, and I've got this over here. Okay.
Well, I
Uh
mean, their dreams mean something. They just might not. You just might not understand what the hell they mean.
fair. Just it's just so weird. I end up like making out with somebody that I'm just like, I would not make out with you. Like, what is that?
Oh, I've had so many of those dreams where I'm like, this isn't. You're not in any way someone that I am interested in or attracted to, and then my brain is like, well, you're gonna like do dirty things with them in your dream, and I'm like, why
Right.
though?
Like, yeah, what is this about? Hold on, I've moved this thing too far. Okay, there you are.
Just
I've
cover up my face.
Well, the thing is that I'm trying to use a different camera because my room is such a mess. I have so many boxes behind me. So yeah, I was like, nobody needs to see all my boxes.
I mean, I'm looking at you on two different cameras, and I can say that the one that is on YouTube definitely does not look like you have a bunch of stuff behind you. All you can really notice is how blue it is, that and the absolute sign. That's kind of
Exactly, it's cropped for my pleasure.
for.
Um, okay, so today I definitely wanted to stay on task a little bit. Um, and talk about leadership because that's what we're talking about this week. And I was thinking about you particularly and how as a person who's had this title, and how getting a title like this kind of like throws you into a leadership role. Um, Even though you may or may not already have been a leader in community, that's doesn't matter, but like once you get that title, it's like you are now expected to be,
Yeah.
so how did that happen to you, that you were like now you're expected to behave a certain kind of way um and speak a certain way to people?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of what titles have become over the years, especially leather titles, almost anything where you're like winning some kind of contest or pageant like this is like even like Miss America and like all of those things, you're sort of expected to be this weird level of like D-list celebrity, or and because of that, people look at you and expect things from you, whether that's to be a leader, which a lot of people expect in their individual communities, because if you win a leather title, you are representing a certain group of people, whether that's a whole state or a bar or a country. You're still is expected to represent them and have some level of decorum. But these are also like sex related titles, so like you also are expected to like have fun and be sexy and be super kinky and all these other things. I was already someone who like I understood that already before I got into it. Like I wasn't surprised by the level of like responsibility, I guess, in a way that people expected me. But I also sort of always had my my fingers in a lot of pun intended, I guess, fingers in a lot of different things, and took some level of role of trying to make those things happen in my life. So I was just already used to it anyway. It didn't really add anything to my plate when you know what you're dealing with.
Fair, fair. Um, and well, you mentioned this to me at one point. It was you felt like it was easier to play with people before you became IML than it was after.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, like I I don't know really how to flirt with people. I flirt with people once I know them or once I can talk to them. I told you about this the other day, but
Yeah.
like I don't know how to start those conversations. Like I don't know how to break ice. I don't know how to look across the room at somebody and be like, I'm gonna flirt with them. Like I can't. That's not something I do. But when you have that sash or that vest on, people go to you generally. Like there are a lot of people who don't come up and talk to you because there's a level of like intimidation and apprehension, um, because everyone's sort of putting you on a weird pedestal. um, and even the people who would come up and talk to me that I would be even remotely interested in would do the like, oh my god, it's so nice to meet you, oh my god, I really love your speech, I'm really glad you came to this event, we're so happy you're here, blah 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 blah. So like that type of thing, and then they'd walk away.
And
And then generally flirt with me on Facebook or some shit, and I'm just like, I'm real easy. Like it's kind of how I got here. Like
it's
real,
like
like honestly, like
it's like you could have done this the other day.
you really could have just like grabbed my hand and taken me to a dark room, and I would have been like, all right, like like I'm. But
Oh,
a
Jack.
lot of people didn't do that. Like
Oh,
and even the people who like were like in person were like, yeah, I really want to do that. More than half of them like didn't follow through for a reason or another. So I'm not going to say I didn't get attention and laid during my year, but it definitely wasn't what a lot of people would have expected.
oh, I'm sorry, Jack. Every time
It's
you tell
okay.
me, every time you tell me that, I feel really bad. I'm actually
I feel like
moved.
I'll rebound when COVID is eventually over, and I'll like be able to be like, well, I'm technically not entitled, so I'm not nearly as intimidating. I don't know. I don't look at this and think intimidating,
Well, I
but
mean,
other people apparently
some
do.
people
So
do, I guess. Actually, I had to
I
move my
guess.
camera situation. Okay. Cause okay, so here's what just happened. While you were telling me all of this, I realized that I was looking this way because that's where my monitor is, and I'm like, maybe if I switch, it makes people think I'm looking at you.
Yeah, because I'm like, you're like looking over to the corner, which is
Yeah.
sort of weird because you're almost looking at the tiny you in the frame of the YouTube video.
Right. And it's like
Oh, now you're
nobody.
like way off, and now you're like halfway and not even
Oh,
on the
it'll
screen.
fix in a second. Am I in the screen now? Do you see me now?
See, thank you, Griffin. I appreciate that. Griffin's like, I never found you intimidating. I'm like, oh, you also met me before the titling thing happened. So like,
Well, Yeah, I
I mean,
don't.
you probably wouldn't have anyway. You're not that kind of person, but still.
I don't find you intimidating.
Yeah, you don't get it. I'm just like, that's
No.
good. I don't need my friends to find me
I
intimidating.
think it's super cute and funny how people are just like, you know, Jack Thompson. I'm like, yeah. and, and they're like, he's so hot. I'm like, all right.
Sure
you,
is.
you go tell him that.
Yeah, I'm just like, cool. Like, I wish that people would tell me that and not literally everyone else around me.
Yeah, like go tell him that. I think I've told people to go tell you that. I'm like, don't worry about it. He's fine. He's fine. He'll if anything, he'll smile at you. It's not like he's gonna run away or like
I'll
spit
get
acid
super
at you.
awkward, you know.
People really think that you're gonna be like, shh, don't talk to me. I'm like, he's not gonna do that. Especially if you're complimenting him. Like, he's gonna
I
be
talk
all
to
right.
everybody, man. Like,
Yeah. I was like, come on. It's like weird. I don't know. People are so weird about and hold these titles in such high regard too. Which is interesting when you're holding the title and people are kind of like they see this thing, you know, and then they see you. And
right.
I mean, the title that I had, which was King of Pride, it was I didn't have it like there's nothing going to compare to an international leather title that you had, but people, I do remember having that experience of people seeing the title first
Hmm.
and then seeing me, and it as far as being a leader in community, it puts a little of a weird spin of pressure on you to make sure that you're I mean, you don't have to live up to this expectation, but you can feel the underlining expectation of what you're supposed to be doing while people see you as this sash before they see you as a person. How do you have like an example of an instance where you like walked into a space where all they saw was international Mr. Leather before they saw Jack?
I mean, honestly, that was, unless the person who was sort of handling me the most, like the producer or whoever was sort of like running me back and forth, or from airport to wherever, like, if the person I was mostly dealing with knew me ahead of time, it happened less, or I felt it less, I think, because like the initial like interaction was with somebody who already knew me and I could just automatically be myself, and I wasn't like automatically getting off the plane expected to sort of walk off wearing full leather and to be this human being, that they think that they know.
Just get off the
But
airplane like Mr. Leather. Look at
right,
me.
like, this is who I am. Like, there'd be like a bunch of boys like holding me on a like litter and just like carrying me off the plane. But like, yeah, but if I didn't know them, like, yeah, that's sort of kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be just like, oh my god, Jack's here, and like they'd be like, okay, if you need anything, like, if you're like kind of like automatically almost expecting me to be like this weird, almost like prima donna, or like kind of, yeah, it was just very, very awkward because I'm just so not that person. Like, I'm so like, cool, like, let's do whatever makes sense, like, kind of dude. And a lot of people just weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
But I also like, I never acted differently. Like, I was definitely less relaxed and more respectful when I would walk into a place I didn't know or with people I didn't know. But I never wasn't Jack the whole time, because I really don't believe in like putting on a completely different act just to be myself, like,
Yeah.
so I people didn't get the full me, but I definitely got like the majority of it. So
Yeah, I mean that's definitely at least my experience. Well, I mean, I guess since like we've hung out before you won, and um I guess that does make a huge difference because like when you came back, we were just really really proud of you, and then it was like, um, you know, I never held any extra expectation of you, and I don't think anybody who had known you. Also, this is Baltimore, and that's just not how we roll. We're just like, you better be a person first,
Right.
and we always really really respect that. And about specifically being a leader in leather community, what types of so yesterday I talked about types of leadership. So and in my community minded ways of thinking about leadership, and not the ways that you're taught about leadership when it comes to getting a job. Okay, you know what I mean? Where there's like
Yeah.
there's 10 types of leaders at work, and it's like I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about like community leaders, which are either the community leader that's a follow me, I'm going to organize like a protest or a gathering or whatever. The leader who has a lot to say, where you like the soapbox leader that people just listen to. And then there's the mentor leader who works with people and empowers people, that person who works through empowerment. What type of leader do you think that leadership style that you tend to like gravitate to um, through this like journey that you've been on?
I mean, definitely the last one. If you're gonna pick out of those, like, I'm definitely not a soapbox kind of guy. I in fact find a lot of the soapboxy type leaders, like I think usually they have good stuff to say for the most part sometimes, but I just, if you're talking too much, there's no action.
Yeah,
And a lot of people who talk a lot have a lot of ideas, but don't actually know how to make things work.
yeah, yeah. I
And,
agree with that.
and I just sort of don't really have the patience to deal with. Like, as soon as I notice that that's the type of person they are, I'm just like, okay, this is not going to probably go anywhere.
Right.
Um,
The only
and then
times
like,
that I think the soapboxy person kind of works is if you're a writer and you're writing for like journals and blogs and stuff like that. But like this general run of the mill soapboxy Facebook person.
I have so much to say, and I'm going to tell everybody else how they should be doing it, but probably not be following through on any of that shit myself. Like, that's
Right.
kind of, and like that kind of thing kind of bugs me. And I've even like look at, I would never be able to be like a singular drag king,
Hmm.
right? Like, I work best in a group. Even when I do numbers, it's hard for me to find solo numbers that I actually like that I used to do, because all of my best stuff I've done because I can play off of other people, and being in a troupe and leading as a group is always way more appealing to me than trying to do something on my own. And um I feel like I work best that way. And so being like a leader where it's like, we're gonna do this, follow me, is that never been something that I've been good at, which I sort of have been pushed to be in the last year.
Right.
Um, and kind of lead by example. But yeah, definitely like, I love to empower other people. I like to be there for other people. I like to support other people and what they are trying to do in their vision. So when I, will eventually, or have in the past, been someone who had an idea and I wanted and needed people to support me, I tend to have a lot of support because I've done that for a lot of people. And I think that is a way more telling of a person than just telling other people what to do or getting up on a soapbox, honestly. But everyone has their strengths, and there are definitely powerful people who make shit work on for all of those kinds of leaders.
Yeah, I think everybody's needed in the struggle here, right? Like all of those types of people are kind of needed. You do need someone who's just going to just say the things, who are super loud, because that creates agitation, and agitation is the only catalyst to start change, right? So you need agitation. You can't wash clothes without agitation. You need
Right.
someone to be able to organize those protests and walks, and to be like, this is not up for a whole lot of debate. I need you to just follow me. Who takes care of all that stuff? And then you do need people who empower one another and really work in smaller a smaller aspect. And I always see that those leaders are the ones that don't get enough recognition.
Totally.
Yeah, because I'm also one of those people who really rather work in a smaller group of people and empower them, and hopefully they can be either leaders themselves or at least stand in their own power. And with holding an international title or even a small title, even if you're holding a bar title, there is an expectation for you to be more of a grandstanding kind of a leader, when
Yes.
that's not always the best way for individuals to lead. And allowing people to lead the ways that feel comfortable to them will allow them to be more impactful. Are you cleaning
I'm
off
just
your
cleaning off my camera.
so like it allows them to be more impactful. And I feel like what you've done, one thing that I admired about you, and I don't even think I've told you.
Oh,
um
stop.
oh well, you know one thing I admired about you in this in holding this title was that you didn't have to do what you did. There's nothing that says that you have to travel the world now and you have to judge every single contest that comes your way. Like, you didn't have to do that. And the fact that you did that to the best of your ability, like you went as many places as you possibly could. You were barely
Yeah.
home. And what you did was so powerful. And for so many reasons. Is that, like, they've put you on this pedestal. The second you got that sash, they put you on that pedestal. First black trans man, or trans man of color who wins this title, right? You're already that person. So you've got a historical spot. And instead of being like instead of being that guy who is going to be like, well, I'm the first and I'm going to be, that guy. I'm really happy that you didn't become that guy. You decided that you were just going to be like, if I'm this person, I'm just going to be like, do representation, like as many places as you possibly can. Like, I'm just going to keep showing up and showing up and showing up. And I really admired how you did that. You didn't do it in a way um, that came off as being better than anybody else. You didn't do it in a way that made anyone feel like you just didn't have you weren't that guy about it. You know what I mean? You went out and you were like, I'm here I'm showing up because if somebody needs to see what this looks like, this is what this looks like. And
You're making me blush now. Stop.
oh, shut up. Uh, but that is like, to be able to show up to places, and you've told me stories about people who were just like so appreciative of you even just being on that stage in Chicago, like, and how much your presence meant to them on that stage, how much more your presence meant when you showed up to Australia or to Germany or anywhere else around the world or country that you showed up to. Like, just being there was enough. And you didn't have to. That's what I admire so much. You didn't have to, and you
Uh,
weren't
I think that's
that
why the
guy.
people are confused by it, because they think that I had to, or they think that all of that travel is like part of the deal, right? And it kind of is, but it's expected of you, not part of what you have to do. Like, people think that like I have this intense contract where I have to do a bunch of shit, and I'm like, no, the IML contract is one of the simplest ones out there. Like, I have two responsibilities: to not disrespect the sash, which means don't act a fucking fool,
Hmm.
um, and to come back and judge the following year. Those are my only obligations. I could have gone home after I won and not left the house until the following year. Like, that would have been technically fine, but the community would have shamed me publicly. Like, that would have been because you're expected, because you immediately, the second you get announced, on that stage the second that you get announced, and that goes all over the world. The inbox of my Facebook and everything else gets flooded with requests to go to their events, and so you start scheduling immediately. And I, I appreciated that. I'm not the soapbox person. I'm not going to be the person who jumps up and tells everybody how to live their life and what they should be doing. Like, I don't believe in doing that. Everyone has their own life, and everyone's life is individual to them. And my individual experience cannot tell you how to live your life and what's best for you. I can advise people, I can be supportive of people, and I can show what not supporting somebody who doesn't deserve support in a certain situation might look like. But I'm not that person, and I don't want anyone else to treat me, to be that person to me either. So I knew that showing up, just being the things that people were already telling me I was, like, you're the first blah 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 blah, like, you're, or your speech meant a lot to somebody, like showing up somewhere and shaking someone's hand or getting a drink with somebody is far more impactful, and showing them that just because you were that person on a stage doesn't mean that you're not a person.
Right.
Like, as soon as people met me, they're like, you're like, people realize, they're like, oh, you're shorter than I thought you were. I'm like, did you not see me next to James Lee on that stage? Like, I'm tiny, like, especially compared to him. But like, also, like, they're like, you're like a weird little nerd. I'm like, yeah, which is why I was really confused when I won. Like, I'm not what people think of when they think IML, for the most part. They
like,
think,
I was waiting for you to be like, I was waiting for you to be like, did you not see the tail? Like,
right? Like, I got the tail. I'm like I'm wearing a fucking like Jack Skellington t-shirt. Like, I literally like talked for almost an hour last night with folks about Pokemon exclusive.
I'm
like,
sure you did, because those are
Yeah.
your friends. I love your friends, by the way.
Although, like my friend Monster's son is obsessed with Pokemon, and he's like a little kid, and I also am obsessed with Pokemon. I have been since I was 10, and he's literally holding up all of his son's toy Pokemon, and I'm just naming all of them. Like, that was and, like, carrying on a conversation. They'd hold up one and they'd be like, Articuno, and then like it would be like talking.
That does not surprise me. Was he like quizzing you through that, or just seeing?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so funny.
Oh my God. That's who I am, though, and
yeah.
that's not going to change, or I'm not going to be a different person to you because I happen to be wearing a fucking sash, like,
right.
So, like, all those judges knew exactly who the fuck I was when they gave me that sash.
Yeah, they were serious.
Like, yeah, like, you can be a weird, like, submissive boy or pup or wolf or nerd or whatever, and still have weight in this community.
Yeah, and I think people needed to see that, and they needed to see that. They needed to see you carry that the way that you've carried it. I think that that's super important. That one, what that does is break down this toxic masculinity nonsense. Of you needing to be this very type A alpha dude in order to hold some power in community.
I mean, you can be a type A alpha dude and still be like a good, strong person who like is, I know I've met personally or know very well a few IMLs.
Yeah.
And all the ones that I'm particularly close to are very strong personality, very dominant people who are some of the best people, who definitely lead by example.
Well, I'm here for people who are like that genuinely, right? There are people who are type A people. There's a reason why it's a type of person. It's the people who are striving to be and trying to mimic that personality type when it's not you. And that's when it gets a little toxic, because there's a level of expectation around that that's not necessarily true. That is a false perception of that personality type. And
you're also acting, and you can't hold up an act.
You can't.
like it's one of the reasons why I, this is going to sound weird, but it's one of the reasons why I, when it comes to like, especially I'll say this especially about the women that I've dated and that I've been attracted to, is that like I am far more attracted to women when they are comfortable. Like if a woman I'm seeing is wearing like sweatpants or some ratty jeans and a t-shirt and we're hanging out on the couch, I am far more attracted to that person than I am to like the getting dolled up and going out person. While that's really hot, there's a level of act that you have to put on
Yeah.
and weight that you give to your existence when you're going out in public and you've put energy into who you're going to be in public. And if something messes that up, it is far harder to come back from that
Yeah.
than it is if you're comfortable and hanging out and laughing and not and relaxed.
Right.
And so like, and it's the same thing, like when you have to put on this persona, when you put a sash on and when you're going to be in public and at an event, if something comes around to mess that up even a little bit, it is far harder to recover your decorum and who you are in that situation when you're thinking about what you have to say and who you have to be,
Mm.
than if you're just being yourself and you happen to be wearing a sash.
Right.
Like,
Right. And it makes it easier for you to hold yourself accountable too. And it's just like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, I did that. Okay.
it's like,
And
yeah,
you move
that's
on. Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Right. And then when you're trying too hard, it just becomes it gets a little messy. And I've seen that happen where just Rick just posted some put more responsibility on themselves than what's required. And I've
mm-hmm.
seen that, like you're putting too much on this situation. Like just be yourself.
Yeah.
It and through my title year, it actually helped me. It gave me, it empowered me to be louder than I had been in the past. And in a way of like my whole like conversations around the Pride Center here in Baltimore, and making sure that there are spaces for drag kings, because coming here to Baltimore, I was like a whole nother. I was like, what is happening here? And
Yeah.
it was like, y'all. So it gave me, it empowered me, and also I showed up here and got a city title and knew nobody here. Like that was also like a breaking through to community, and it gave me that space to do so. But I was always me. Like it can't be anybody else but me. And I've seen so many people hold titles and just kind of like lose it. I've seen people just and it's like stop, just somebody grab them real quick.
Like they need some assistance, and someone grab that.
Yeah.
I've told you, like I mean, if it wasn't for you, I would have probably still been floundering quite a bit. You know, like you were the reason, you and support and my, you know, family and whatever have been like the reason why I didn't horribly flounder and just probably want to pack up and go home. Like, and that's
Absolutely, yeah.
because you showed up and automatically were like, I'm going to support this human that I don't know in their vision and help them with something that I also would like to be a part of, and became a leader there. And the more I got to know you, the more I realized how much people respected you and really listened to you. And you were such a leader here. And I know half the time you didn't see it,
Ugh.
but it's true. Like I met you and I automatically saw that, and it was just like, I need to be closer to this human, like, and that's a superpower by itself. Like having people meet you and automatically be like, I want to work with or be around this person because of what they bring to the table, like that.
Ugh.
And
And I'm a bucket
Jess,
of
I think said
crazy.
it best. Like when you do something and you're in charge of something, it succeeds. Like
Ugh.
when you have the power to make something succeed, you make it succeed, and that's really hard track record for people to keep up with, but you do it, and that's really, really amazing. So like regardless of having a title on your back or having that be a thing, like you make that shit happen all the time. So like,
Listen, we ain't doing okay. I gave you my love letter. You gave me okay. We did that. Yeah, it's exchange of love. No, trust me, when I met you, you were fully vetted, so it's all good. We totally vetted you. Me and Sydney were just like, "Who's this kid? He says he's from the Bay. Who's this kid?" uh, and everyone from the Bay Area was just like, Jack is absolutely amazing, and not one smidge of shade. And I was like, I think that was the thing I knew that you were legit, because when people talk about somebody else, there's always something. There's always something. It's like, I know Jack's ex-wife and whatever, you know, all this stuff. Like, I know, I heard all this stuff. Not a smidge of shade. I was just like, ain't nobody got no dirt on this kid. Nope. Nothing bad to
there's
say.
so much dirt out there. You really got to find it.
But like, when people don't want to share it, it means they actually like you. Yeah, I know there's dirt. Everybody's got dirt.
Everyone's got dirt.
I mean, look at Alexander Hamilton. Nobody was thinking about him. We found out all his dirt. He had so much dirt. That whole play was a Dr. Phil episode. You know that. It was so good. So good. I was watching it with Sydney. I was like, watch this. And she goes, ooh, he about to mess with her? I was like, wife left town for 5 minutes.
There's a lot of sap in that fucking movie. It's like, oh no.
Right. Like,
what's he about to do?
Let's see. Alexander Hamilton, that is not a good idea. We were having a ball watching that movie.
He writing her sister letters? What the fuck is he doing?
I was like, that is not even right. And then I was like, watch her show back up and be like, I understand we had a thing, but I'm here for my sister. And here she comes. Sure enough, she was just like, no. She was like, no, you cheated on both of us. I was like, this is not right. So good. If Dr. Phil was alive and doing the thing in the late 1700s, early 1800s, he would have had the best show ever with Hamilton.
Right, just like, welcome back.
Welcome back. We have Alexander Hamilton and his like three women.
Are you the father?
Are you the father? Right. Yikes, Hamilton. But yeah, like, you know, everybody's got dirt, and when people are just like, it's not even worth sharing because this person's such a good person, then I knew that, you know, you were the person that I wanted to meet. And I immediately, when we first like met, when you were talking about the Rebel Kings and everything, I was just like, you have the same love for your troop that I had for mine, and I understand exactly where you're coming from for wanting to recreate that. And I'm like totally here for it. I still can't wait till we get to some kind of we level off on normal, because I can't even say what normal will be. But when we level off and we have an opportunity to revisit bringing a chapter of the Rebel Kings here, I'm here for it. I think drag kings need a space here in Baltimore. And the type of drag that you do is very close to what drag king troops look like. You know, the very theatrical, the weird to the 10th level, and just very performative, thought through, and creative types of performances. It's like, you don't get that. You don't see that in the drag queen spaces like that.
Not in the same way. Like,
not in the same way.
A lot of really cool shit.
Some of these queens are doing stuff, and I'm just like, I love it.
I think it's
like,
also the troop aspect. Like, when you get a group of people together and your creativity can play off of each other in a lot of ways, and you trust each other to just be like, hey, I have this idea. Will you be in it? And they're like, cool, what do you need me to do? Like, when you have that kind of camaraderie with people, you can create so much more crazy, interesting shit.
Right.
And drag queens tend to be more like solo when it comes to what they're doing. Like, it's their process, it's their character, and there isn't a lot of cooperation in the same way. I mean, that's all, again, of course, not a hard and fast rule, but like, that definitely is more the norm than in drag king spaces. And I know a lot of singular drag kings that are just like, this is who I am, and I go all over the place, and I have this act, and this is what I do. But then they only have to do so many numbers. There's only so many in their repertoire because they can go to a different place and do the same numbers, and it's brilliant.
Right.
I mean, I was excited about moving out here and doing it because I was like, I have like a decade's worth of shows of like, acts that I have that are going to be all new to a whole
Right.
group of people.
Right.
Now I can start from the bottom and go back up. Like I
Right.
don't have to come up with new shit forever. Like,
That is the best part about traveling, is because you could go from one state to the next and no one has ever seen you do this act before, even though you're like, this is the most tired act that I have and I've done it so many times, but like, oh yeah, y'all have never seen this before. It's so brilliant to be able to do that. Well, now like this virtual shows, like that kills it, because like everybody's seen my 3 videos, like the whole world has. So like I have to come up with new content. It's like I can go to the next city and be like, here's this video.
I mean, like I'm co-hosting Rebel Kings on Wednesday.
Ooh.
For all y'all, if you want to hop on that. The link for it is on my Facebook page. So, and I miss those guys, and like everybody's sending in a video, whatever, and I told them, I was like, I love y'all, and I can't, wait to visit and see you and do some stuff again. But like the video thing, like you've done amazing videos. All my friends have done really amazing stuff. I'm not that person. Like I'm just not. Like I do my best in almost an improv like way, where like I have my act, but I play off of other people really well. I can ad lib if I need to, if some shit's gone awry. I like playing off of a crowd. Yeah. But I can't like set up my camera and do an act and then edit it. Like it doesn't feel great. Like if somebody else wanted to do a video with me or me with somebody and that they handled all the editing,
right.
Cool. But like I'll work that out. Like I'll be in one of your videos if you want, or whatever. Like if you want to help me make one, like cool, we can figure that out. But like I'm not really good at that. Like that's not my strong suit, so I just haven't even really tried. I also sort of like lost a lot of the performer bug with traveling and like kind of being the center of attention for a while. Like I was like, I don't want to also perform.
I don't want to do this.
It's too much.
I feel you on that. Like it's too much, but like I had a really interesting summer. So I finally started having the bug to make a new video, and I have at least 3 acts that I want to film right now. I just need to figure out when, and I need to find some energy to actually do it. But they're there, and they are like, this has actually been really great for me personally, because I get to perform in a way that I've always wanted to. And like, because when you're on stage, you don't perform in jump cuts. You perform like, as there's no second take. But I get to I feel like I get to break out of this like wall that the bar gives me and really express the ways that I see the music in my head. And I mean, for some people, being in the bar is exactly where they need to be. And that's where you do your best work. I mean, it's just not like, for me, I just love doing that, being too extra. Like the best show that I ever put together was a Pretty Boy drag show where we did a house party. And we put like the couch on the stage, and everyone had a role. Like Black Dynamite was the wallflower of the house party, and he sat on the couch the entire show. And the only time that he got up was for his act, which was a dream sequence where everyone around him on stage froze, and he performed around us. I was like, that shit is fucking brilliant.
That is amazing. That is so awesome.
That is the way my brain works. I've never scripted a show like that ever again. I want that back. But like, yeah, being able to do videos allows me to tap into that part of my creativity. And I mean, if I could produce a show like that again, hold up.
Whenever you do,
I
I
might
got
be
you.
able to.
Yeah, I mean, like I performed this year. The only times I really performed were at 12 Days,
Hmm.
um, and then um, at and then with Rebel Kings while I was in town.
Yeah.
So that, and I'm never gonna not like if I'm in town and I'm not trying to surprise them and scare the hell out of them when I show up. You know,
Right.
um, that's probably like that's where I feel comfortable. Like that's my safe space. Like I walk into the White Horse and I'm just like, oh, I'm home. I
Right.
can just go into my thing and be like, hey, I have this song with me and I have this outfit. Like, you know, I'm here for this.
And they'll be like,
Or
yeah.
just jump into somebody else's number because I'm a good prop. But like that's sort of how I learned to be a drag king. And I'm not the most tech savvy human in the world. So like it just makes more sense to be able to do something like that than to be able to like I wish I had a video to send out because I would totally be supporting so many shows and people who have asked me for stuff like that and like I'd like to help out more
Right.
like but that's not something that I have on hand to be able to send out to people, at least not to the
Right.
quality that I would like feel comfortable wanting to do that.
See,
Like I don't
if
want to
I
have
feel like if I open that box for you, you're gonna be
that.
like, I want it to look like this, like, cause just based
Here's my
on,
vision.
yeah, I feel like be if when you open that box and allow yourself to be like, this is possible, and now I can like, yeah, it's gonna be, you would be really, 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 really into it. Um,
Probably.
so before we check out, you said you're co-hosting the Rebel Kings show on Wednesday. Link
Mm-hmm.
is on your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. It is a benefit for homeless youth to it's a we're raising money for boxers for homeless youth.
Okay.
So I will be hosting in my boxers.
Oh my. So worth it.
Yeah.
Uh, this Saturday, we are doing a small thing over at the Clifton Pleasure Club, with a lot of the women and non, or I guess mixed, title holders in the Northeast area or the Mid Atlantic area, and yeah, I don't know what else has anything else. Any other parting words, Jack?
Parting words. Um, I miss everybody so much.
Mm.
Like I miss all my people. I mean, almost everybody in the chat I have seen since COVID at least once, but like I miss my community, I miss my people, and I hope that everybody stays safe and is doing okay. And this shit'll be over at some point, but like please just be safe and hunker down until then.
Yeah, just chill. It's not the end. I mean, it may be the end of the
It
world. I
kind of
don't know.
yeah, you can't
Yeah,
really say that anymore because
yeah, it
like,
might be.
it
Um,
might be the end of the world. We don't
we
know.
don't know. But uh, keep your chin up.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Just because it's the end of the world doesn't mean you gotta be
yeah,
upset about
you
it.
don't have to be. I mean, it's a little underwhelming. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it is. It's not exactly what we were hoping for.
I was
Um,
ready for zombie apocalypse or
yeah,
Mad Max or something, but I'm down with pajama apocalypse.
I really wanted a nice dune buggy. That would have been
Hmm.
amazing. I'm a little disappointed in not having a dune buggy, and the
I
whole
mean, I've been
world
to
being
Burning Man.
desert.
Like I was prepared.
Right.
Like
um, fucking Burning Man.
thanks for
Uh,
wanting me to come on, man. Even at
uh,
this hour.
oh my gosh, I am so tired, and I'm like, no, it's 11 o'clock. That now I'm like, I've got work to do. So, let me get my
I'm gonna hop back
done.
in bed. Is what I'm gonna
You
do.
suck. You suck. Thank you everyone for watching the Coffee with Chris show. Jack, thank you so much for getting up and being a part of this. Um, if you want one of these Coffee with Chris show mugs, you can go on to coffeewithchrisshow.com and order yourself a mug. It's $15 and it includes shipping. That's great, and have a whole rack of them over there. So please order one. Also, make sure you like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn your notifications on so that you will be notified every time we go live. And this is a Monday through Friday show. So we will be live every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Until next time, Jack, thank you. And I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Uh, Here in Baltimore, we have a slight hurricane happening outside.
Slight.
Just be safe.
Just a little.
It's the end of the world. What can we do? All right, y'all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Bye.